Welcome to Waypoint Connect. So great for you to tune in and be part of this week's episode. Imagine this, and it's not hypothetical because it's probably happened within this last week. You're driving in traffic and suddenly someone cuts in front of you. Your first reaction is, what is this person thinking? And what goes through your mind is, I'm busy driving, this is my lane. But here's the challenge. Within that moment, you take ownership and you own something that isn't yours. Whichever way you want to look at it, that's entitlement. And that's part of a big problem of our society and communities, is the fact that we take ownership of things that don't belong to us and we react as if this belongs to me and I've got the right to decide and judge about this. So within that moment in traffic, just because that person has cut you off, suddenly your blood pressure rises. You're angry, you're driving the way you shouldn't be driving, you're thinking what you shouldn't be thinking, and that amazing thought you had just now is completely out of your mind and it's filled with just this anger and retaliation. Why? Because you decided that this traffic lane that doesn't belong to you, belongs to you. But it plays out in every part of our daily life. If you just take a look at putting out the garbage and somebody's rummaging through the garbage, the first thought is, that's my garbage, but you've put it out, it doesn't belong to you anymore. But then you say, no, but it's on my curb and I put all the amount of effort in to keep it clean. And then what sits behind that? Again, it's my pavement, it's my curb, but that doesn't belong to you. You're just simply there keeping it clean, taking ownership of it. And what if that person rummaging through your garbage, what if it wasn't just a random person, somebody you didn't know, or a vagrant? What if that was the neighbor's son or daughter, and they're going through that garbage? Your first action wouldn't be to shout at the person and get them to move on to the next neighbor's garbage. You would engage in conversation. You would say, is something wrong? Do you need help? Is there anything I can help you with? Because suddenly that person's got a name, and you're connected to that person. So what I'm challenging you within this context is just to think differently about everyday situations. And it's not the situation, but it's how we react to it. And if I change how I engage within that, my worldview changes, then suddenly you're in a space that's more positive. And within that, if you were to ask, what's the right response? How do I respond to this? Where do we go? We go when we, not Google, we go when we listen to what Jesus would inform us to do. That's the right place to go to and figure out. And with us just coming out of Easter, I'm just reminded of Jesus just before the meal, the last meal with his disciples at the Passover meal, where he washed their feet. There wasn't somebody to wash their feet. They didn't organize somebody. They didn't want to do it because that's the lowliest thing to do, and nobody wanted to be in that position of a servant serving the others. And then Jesus goes and he starts washing feet, and he washes everybody's feet. And then he says this in John 13, he says, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. What Jesus does in that instance is he says, I'm the Lord, your Lord, I'm the teacher. So I'm ticking all the boxes in terms of authority. If there's anybody that's not supposed to do this, it's me, but I'm willing to do it because I don't entitle authority and stature. I don't own that. I don't make that mine. It's not mine to own. What I be rather willing to do is to serve, be the lowliest, make a difference, make an impact. So what if we applied that to our everyday life and say, Jesus didn't even entitle himself to posture and titles and position. So what claim do I have to that? Am I willing to serve other people, irrespective of what it requires of me? Am I willing to do that for other people because I love other people that much? Especially if I don't know you. Especially if we don't have a pre-existing relationship. But I'm willing to treat you as if you're my brother or as if you're my sister, as if you're family. And just imagine for a second how different it would be driving in traffic and how different our lives would be. Everyday life, you walk into a bank and you just treat that person with respect. And you're willing to serve the person even though they're supposed to serve you. Doesn't mean you put up with everything, just means you engage completely differently within that situation. Because you're not in a space of entitlement. I have the right to feel this way because I am the customer. And that's the challenge for really being a Jesus follower, is that it informs everyday life. Not just the comfortable parts of life and not just the big parts of life, but the everyday parts that nobody gets to see. That's when it becomes authentic, when you follow Jesus with integrity. And if we can really get that right, not only will our communities be completely different, but we'd be able to invite a lot more people into a relationship with Jesus. So my challenge to you this week is go and wash other people's feet. Not literally wash their feet, but go and treat the petrol attendant differently. Go and treat the person that cuts you off in traffic differently, because you're willing to wash their feet, because you love them. So that's my challenge to you. It's a big challenge. It's a difficult challenge. I'm definitely going to take it up, so I encourage you to do the same. And remember, throughout that process, have a great